Yeah, I know. The typical dark opening scene to a narrative that determines how you are going to judge me for the next 16 minutes of my life that I'm about to share with you. When, in actuality, I guess, looking from the outside in, we all can be judged this way when put under the same microscope. We have all been down some long, dark road at some point in time of our life, and God only knows how many of our paths have intersected at some inevitable crossroad. Some of us, people like me, have taken it too far. Others have not taken it far enough. A majority of us just linger near the edge and come back, and prolong returning to the edge only to come back again. Except this night. This night is different for me. Maybe some of you can relate. If you cannot, then maybe you can learn. If you cannot do neither, I wish you well on your never-ending stasis. We try to learn something new about ourselves every day, right? At least some of us. Yet, I'm still unsettled, unnerved, unfulfilled, in more ways than just one. Some of the dark spots was by choice, yes, but it seems like a majority of life's malfeasance was beyond my grasp. Free will, the freedom of choice, has always existed, even in a world where we are led to believe that everything is predetermined. I have discovered that even in a world where an end to our story already exists, we still control the plot that leads to that last chapter. Maybe that is why I sit like this here tonight, recording, writing one of my last messages to all of you in hopes that you will understand the why behind the why. Let's go back in time to a memory of when things were perfect for me, when things were normal, not upside down. A time when I had everything within my reach, in my grasp, by my side. Little did I know how close to the edge I really was, and she stayed there with me for as long as she could. We danced in the breeze together. We grew. We stood in the sun. We played in the shade. We existed together, and nothing was ever going to separate us. Nothing. Not God, man, or woman. We were happy. We were happy. Even though our tired bodies flickered in the gravity of life's moments, our love never wavered. Our bodies illuminated the twilight. We warmed the darkness while bathing ourselves in any and every shadow we could find. The world slowly melted around us until it happened. Then all it took was one breath, and it was gone. After it happened, I asked myself why. Why did it have to be her? Why couldn't it have been someone else? Someone that the world did not need. Someone that was not special. And these emotions hit me hard every time I went and visited her at her new resting place. I knew there was never going to be any peace for me after this. I mean, how could there? If you lose something that was universally meant for you. So I did the first thing that popped into my head. I hit my stop sign and I drove through it. I let the darkness consume my soul. I let the fog cover me in its blanket as I crawled around in the confines of my own brain. I let the blinding lights come at me head on as I sped down the back roads of life as fast as I could. I gave up on myself as well as everything around me. I let my brain do one specific thing because I was that empty. I let it spin and spin. I let my life turn around in endless circles. I let everything go down the drain mentally and physically. Then they came for me. The memories of her, of us, nostalgic nightmares that continue to haunt me until this very day, this very minute, this very hour. No place is safe for me anymore, or so I thought. I tried to blot the memories of her out, erase them one by one, not go back to them, but it did not work. It only made them more and more intense. So I finally decided to drift with the memories. I let the wind push a deflated me forward, in between the then and now, since we were robbed of our tomorrow. I climbed my way through them, through the memories of what used to be, hoping to find something that wasn't there. Or maybe it always was, and I had not realized it until this certain point in time. One memory led to another, and then it finally hit me. How long had she really been gone? How long had I kept myself distracted from the loneliness that consumed me? Had I forgotten how she smelled, the way that she tasted, the sound of her laugh? I found myself wanting to turn back time. I wanted to live in the past with her and not in the future where me and her did not exist. I retraced my steps. I drove myself mad. I looked for her everywhere. I burned myself from the inside out to ash, back to life again in hopes she would visit me one last time. The charred remains of yesteryear. I looked up to the sky, wondering if she was looking back at me or had she already moved on to her new existence. Or was she somewhere else looking up at her new sky, thinking the same thing about me? Time started to bend as other memories hit me. In one of them, she was smiling and walking away from me. Was this my sign? Was this my answer? Was this the solace I was looking for? I cried out to the invisible, "Why did you have to go? Why did you have to leave?" And I get the same response as I always do. Silence. It makes my body crawl. It makes me question everything I believe. It makes me not want to exist. It makes me want to burrow in the ground beside her and never leave. Ever. When and where do I finally find the peace that I deserve? Where is my light? Where is my warm peace of the sidewalk? Where is the absolute that will finally make me feel complete? Instead of answers, I received more questions, more unresolved. Her ghost haunts me and will continue to do so until I finally disappear like she did. Some days I see her and want to touch her, but I know she will merely evaporate and cascade through my fingers like mist, and I'll be left with the same thing I came with, the same thing I'm always left with now. That thing being nothing. So I run. I retrace my steps. I reground myself for the millionth time in my life. The memories still remain. I see her shadow standing next to mine. She pops into my mind, my soul, to tell me that I will be okay and that she never, ever wanted to leave me. I, of course, immediately throw myself back onto that same dark, foggy road again, even though I should know better by now. But what am I to do? The wind tears at my skin and face, like the memories tear at my soul. And I feel like there is only one way out of all the pain that this life could possibly contain. I mean, I can't leave her here, not alone like this, not like she left me. It's not right. It's not what lovers do. None of it seems real, or ever will. I mean, Where do I go to now, considering where I sat that one lonely rain, thunder-filled night? What is really going on inside my heart, mind, and soul? Then it pops into my tireless brain, infiltrates like a foreign invader, a deadly pathogen, a virus, an unknown. I walk the bridge between the there, then, and now, the tomorrow and yesterday. I realize that I need to remember her like I need to at the moment. I try not to feel alone even though I am. I try to remember us for us and realize that I will be alone until I see her again, hopefully, through all of this. I mean, if I cannot, then what is the point? What is the point to all of this pain and suffering? If I see her, then I do, and immerse myself in that moment. If I don't, then I don't. I tried living life by my own terms, and it didn't work. It was too painful. It was too heartbreaking, especially for the love that we shared. I wanted her all the time or not at all. I was that selfish with her and everything that made her her, and she was fine with that because you know what? She treated me the same exact way. When going back in your memories only causes pain, what do? Do I purposely hurt my soul just to be able to see her again, or do I forget about her entirely? Someone has to remain on this space rock to make sure our memories do not die out completely, right? I will be the time traveler. I will go to the past, self-inflict the painful memories I desire and bring her back to life. I will live in the present and propel myself to the future so I can be at rest. Maybe. So I consciously choose to go down the only path that I think is for me, even though it probably isn't the only one for me. But what can you really do when the love of your life, your soulmate, your twin flame is taken away from you and you are left with the only thing that existed before you crossed paths with a private piece of your actual universe? When you are left with only yourself and your thoughts. So I walk and I walk and I walk, whether through time or back into it, whether around it or under it, head up, head down, scarred countenance, a soul with a hole that seems like it will never heal because, well, why would I want it to? So I can merely forget, like everyone in the world tries to do on a daily basis. So I head toward the only light I can see for miles. I run towards it hoping it will consume me and blind me like she used to do in the waning sun or moonlight, but it doesn't. All it does is lead from one place, to another, and I end up in the same place, stranded forever until the crashing waves, the endless, staring back at me staring back at it, until me and her are both no more. I catch myself looking around for her and only her, wanting her to shower me in her love, even in the places where I know she is not, nor will she ever be. Me discovering that the past and the future are the only places where I can exist now. The present that I'm currently trapped in between no longer feels like home anymore. So I catch myself standing alone on a pier, caught in a memory of when she was here, taking in the view, waiting for me to come sit beside her and put my arm around her, waiting for me and only me, as we force time to stand still. This is me waiting for her touch, waiting to feel her magnetism even though I know I will never feel it like I used to. The only time I will feel it like I did is if I find her in the flesh, and that is what I constantly find myself trying to do, regardless of the outcome. If I close my eyes hard enough, I still feel her hand on top of mine. I feel her skin. I reach out to her and she responds. I feel her warmth. I want to forget how cold her hand was as she lay in her casket. Then I open my eyes and blink, and the memory fades as my reality takes back over. I lose another piece of myself if I have not already lost enough in this lifetime. I start to drift, and it's too much for me to take. She's there, she's not. She's there, she's not. It would be easier to check out of this life and never look back. It still does not seem real. But what's really real anymore? Who knows? Do any of us really know? I guess we do. I guess maybe we don't. I guess the only thing certain about certainty is uncertainty. They say only time can tell, but I cannot live like that anymore since time is no longer linear for me. What's happened has already happened, and what's going to happen has already happened. How do I fight something like that? How do I win that battle? So maybe it's a good thing I didn't do what I wanted to do that one lonesome night, no matter how much it crosses my mind, and decided that I'd rather have her ghost haunt me than to not have her at all. All I can hope is that me and her will be reunited once again, no matter how unfair all of this is to me, to her, to our love. One thing is certain. I miss her. I miss her every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year. And I'm sure she misses me just as much too. Still hear her whispers. Still feel her touch. Still feel her heartbeat. We all currently carry or have felt this feeling in some way or another. Right?
There's nothing easy about haunting him and trying to stay connected to him from the parallel I'm currently trapped in, and him think that I had a choice in the matter. All of this was just as unfair to me too. In loss, I guess all of us can be selfish, especially when two lovers have to say goodbye for the final time. God only knows that I still am when it comes to him. For now, all we have are the memories. And every time I visit him, it's like I'm looking at him for the first time, even though I know our last time has already preceded us. I know I will see him again like I used to. He knows when I'm close by. He has to. I want him to know that I never wanted to leave him. Ever. I mean, there's a story for me to tell from my side of things. The part of the story that the ghost carries on. And you know what? It's just as sad as his.